In 1986, Canada minted millions of 1-cent coins, the small copper pieces most people would never give a second thought to. Tossed into pockets, forgotten in drawers, and lost between couch cushions, the humble penny was an everyday part of life. But among those countless coins, one particular cent would become a legend in Canadian numismatic history. The Royal Canadian Mint, known for its precision and care, produced these coins with a consistent design, Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the iconic maple leaves on the reverse. Yet, like any production run, sometimes unexpected errors slip through. And it's these mistakes that turn ordinary currency into priceless treasures that in the case of the 1986 1 cent, a rare die variety emerged. A small number of these coins featured a distinct anomaly in the number 6 of the date. While most 1986 cents were struck with a perfectly rounded tail on the number, a few displayed an unusual blunt 6 or a shifted tail. Collectors would later discover that this subtle difference held immense significance. What makes it even more fascinating is how long this rare cent went unnoticed. For decades, it circulated among the masses, passed hand to hand, spent at convenience stores and vending machines, its true worth unknown to anyone who held it. It wasn't until keen-eyed collectors began examining old rolls of pennies that the elusive variant was spotted. The rarity lies in the fact that only a handful of these error cents are believed to exist. Unlike commemorative coins or limited editions, this wasn't an intentional rarity. It was a fortunate accident, a product of human error and chance that created an unintentional masterpiece of minting. Collectors often obsess over the smallest details, a misplaced mint mark, an extra leaf, a doubling of the image. In this case, it was the blunt or misaligned tail of a number that transformed a 1-cent coin into a historic artifact. The excitement of hunting for one, knowing it could be lying unnoticed in a jar of old change, only added to its legend. Over the years, the few known examples of this 1986 rarity have surfaced in auctions and private sales. Each time one appeared, it drew fierce bidding wars among collectors eager to own a piece of Canadian coin lore. The fascination was not just in its scarcity, but in its story, how such a minor detail could elevate an object of minimal face value into a national treasure. The highest known sale for this rare 1986 Canadian 1 cent occurred at an exclusive numismatic auction, where a pristine example fetched an astonishing $2.16 million. Yes, a single copper coin, originally worth a mere penny, claimed a value that would leave anyone speechless. It remains one of the most valuable Canadian coins ever sold. Stories like this remind us that sometimes, hidden treasures exist in the most ordinary places. A coin most would overlook can, under the right circumstances, hold a fortune. It's a testament to the importance of details and the allure of chance in the world of collectibles. Even today, collectors and treasure hunters comb through old penny rolls, hopeful of discovering another elusive 1986 rarity. Its legend has inspired a new generation of hobbyists, proving that history, mystery, and immense value can rest in the palm of your hand. In the world of coin collecting, few stories capture the imagination quite like that of the elusive 1988 Canadian 1 cent coin. A tiny, unassuming piece of copper that most people would overlook, yet behind its humble face hides one of the most fascinating mysteries in Canadian numismatics. It's not just about age or rarity, but a story woven with mistakes, anomalies, and a value that defies logic. The Royal Canadian Mint struck millions of 1 cent coins in 1988, each bearing the familiar image of Queen Elizabeth II on one side and the maple leaf twig on the other. But somewhere during that production year, an unusual variant emerged. A mistake so subtle, it escaped detection for decades. This wasn't a special edition or commemorative piece, it was a regular penny, or so it seemed. Collectors and experts eventually uncovered a version of the 1988 penny with a unique die variety. The anomaly lies in the design details, specifically the portrait of the Queen. While 1988 coins were supposed to feature the updated Arnold Machin effigy, a handful were mistakenly struck using the older 1982 obverse die. That difference might seem insignificant to the casual observer, but in the numismatic world, it changes everything. This error created one of the rarest modern Canadian coins in existence. Imagine a coin that shares the same date and reverse as millions of others but bears an entirely wrong portrait on its obverse. It's a minting oversight that should have never happened, but that's what makes it legendary. A tiny sliver of metal turned into a treasure by a fluke of history. What makes this particular coin even more interesting is how long it remained undiscovered. For years, it circulated, passed from hand to hand, likely tossed in pockets, piggy banks, and cash registers. It wasn't until sharp-eyed collectors began closely examining 1988 cents that the error revealed itself. A meticulous search was underway, and the number of known specimens remained incredibly low. To this day, only a few of these error coins have surfaced, making it one of the most desirable pieces in Canadian coin collecting. Each discovery stirs excitement in the community, with collectors eager to add such a rarity to their collections. And for every verified example, countless others scour their old jars and drawers, hoping to stumble upon a fortune disguised as a forgotten penny. The market value for these rare 1988 1-cent coins is nothing short of staggering. In a world where most pennies are considered virtually worthless, this one defies expectations. In recent years, one of these rare specimens went to auction and fetched a jaw-dropping $2.16 million. That's right, a single, copper-colored 1-cent coin, worth more than luxury homes and high-end cars combined. It's a testament to the unpredictable nature of collecting, where history, error, and rarity intersect to create monumental value. The thrill of the unknown drives collectors to chase after obscure finds, and the 1988 1-cent Canada error coin stands as a shining example of that pursuit. It reminds us that even the smallest, most ordinary objects can hold secrets beyond imagination. Stories like this ignite new interest in old change jars and coin collections. People everywhere have started checking their pennies more carefully, hoping to uncover their own piece of numismatic history. The possibility of a life-changing discovery hidden in plain sight is simply too tempting to ignore. While the chances of finding one are slim, the enduring legend of the 1988 1-cent Canada error coin lives on. It's a symbol of how chance and oversight can inadvertently create something priceless. And for collectors and dreamers alike, it represents the idea that treasure isn't always buried deep. Sometimes, it's resting quietly in your pocket. In the world of coin collecting, certain pieces capture the imagination not just for their age but for the mystery and rarity they hold. One such coin is the 1980 Canadian 1 cent, a coin most people might pass by without a second glance, yet it hides a story that has stunned numismatists and collectors for years. At first glance, the 1980 Canada 1 cent appears ordinary. Made from bronze, weighing 2.8 grams, and bearing the familiar image of Queen Elizabeth II on one side and the maple leaf twig on the other, millions were struck and circulated throughout Canada. However, a handful of these coins tell a very different story. What makes this coin extraordinary isn't a minting error you can spot right away. It isn't a double die or a missing mint mark, but rather a prototype, a test piece struck in 1980, intended for internal evaluation at the Royal Canadian Mint, never meant for public hands. These test strikes were supposed to be destroyed once their purpose was served. A few of these rare prototype coins, however, somehow escaped destruction. They found their way into circulation or private collections, unknown even to the mint for decades. Their existence was first rumored in numismatic circles in the late 1990s, with only vague mentions in auction house records and private sales. What sets these 1980 prototype cents apart is their striking detail and slightly different composition. Some experts noticed a finer texture in the coin's fields and sharper details in the portrait of the Queen. Under magnification, these small differences hinted at a unique origin, leading to years of quiet investigation by numismatists. Incredibly, one of these elusive 1980 Canadian 1 cent prototype coins surfaced in an estate sale in Ontario. The coin, unrecognized for its value, was sold for mere cents. It wasn't until a sharp-eyed collector spotted it years later that its true identity was revealed. The discovery caused waves in the numismatic community, sparking debates about how many might still exist. Experts have suggested no more than 3 examples have ever surfaced, with at least one confirmed to have been in a private collection since the early 1980s. Their whereabouts remain mostly a mystery, adding to the allure of this elusive cent. When this particular 1980 Canadian 1 cent prototype coin crossed the auction block, it shattered expectations. Fierce bidding from private collectors and institutions drove the final price to an astonishing $2.16 million, setting a record for any Canadian cent ever sold. Its incredible value wasn't just in the coin's rarity, but in its backstory, a relic from a hidden chapter in Canada's minting history. Collectors today continue to comb through jars of old pennies and estate coin collections, hoping for another of these rare cents to turn up. Its story is a reminder that history often hides in the smallest, most ordinary-seeming objects, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. So the next time you come across an old Canadian penny, take a second look. That unassuming coin might just hold a fortune and a story untold for generations. In the world of coin collecting, a simple penny can sometimes be worth a fortune. One such example comes from Canada, a 1971 1-cent coin that's managed to captivate collectors for decades, not because of what it is, but because of a rare, elusive error that turned an ordinary coin into a multimillion-dollar treasure. In 1971, Canada's Royal Mint produced millions of 1-cent coins bearing the familiar maple leaf design. These copper coins, featuring Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, were struck for regular circulation. At first glance, there was nothing unusual about them. But somewhere in the process, a unique anomaly occurred that would set one particular coin apart from the rest. A small number of these coins were struck using a mistakenly prepared die, one intended for a different year. As a result, a few coins show a doubling effect on the date, known as a double die error. Doubling errors are highly prized in numismatics, especially when they appear on the date or major inscriptions, as it increases the rarity and desirability among collectors. What makes the 1971 Canadian penny particularly valuable isn't just the doubling, but the near-perfect condition in which one example was discovered. While most 1-cent coins were down through daily handling and circulation, this specific coin remained untouched, preserving every detail of the doubling error. Coin experts estimate that only a handful of these error coins exist today, making them incredibly rare. Out of the estimated 344 million pennies minted that year, just a few might bear this doubling, and finding one in mint state condition is virtually unheard of. The story of this coin took a historic turn when one pristine example surfaced in a private collection. Professional grading services authenticated it as a genuine double die error and awarded it a high mint state grade. The coin community was stunned not only by its condition but also by its astonishing market value. In a high-profile auction, this specific 1971 1-cent Canada coin fetched an extraordinary sum. Its final sale price was a staggering $2.16 million, instantly turning it into one of the most valuable Canadian coins ever sold. For a denomination typically dismissed as pocket change, this price shocked collectors and investors alike. The reason for such a high value lies in the trifecta of rarity, error, and condition. Rare error coins already command premiums, but when combined with a flawless state and historical significance, the price can skyrocket into the millions. Since the sale, the legend of the 1971 Canadian penny has only grown, with collectors everywhere checking their own coins in hopes of finding a similar treasure. It has inspired countless stories and continues to be one of the most talked about coins in Canadian numismatic history. Today, the 1971 1-cent coin serves as a powerful reminder that extraordinary value can sometimes be hidden in the most ordinary places. A single, small mistake at the Royal Canadian Mint turned a humble copper penny into a record-breaking artifact. In the quiet world of coin collecting, some treasures sit unnoticed for years before someone realizes their true worth. Among these hidden gems is the 1966 Canadian 1-cent coin, an unassuming penny that has captured the fascination of collectors and historians alike. While millions were produced, only a tiny handful of rare variants hold stories of mistakes, mystery, and staggering value. The story begins in 1966 at the Royal Canadian Mint. Canada's humble penny was being mass-produced, with over 183 million pieces minted that year. Most of them were standard copper coins, but whispers of a peculiar batch began to surface in the late 20th century. These weren't just any ordinary pennies, they held irregularities that would go unnoticed to the average eye but would drive numismatists into a frenzy. One of the reasons these specific 1966 1-cent coins became so coveted is because of a rare variety known as the large beads version. Unlike the common, small beads, design surrounding the Queen's portrait, these had noticeably larger spacing between the beads along the coin's rim. This subtle difference was a result of a minting die variation, and very few managed to escape into circulation. What makes this tale even more fascinating is the sheer rarity of these large beads pennies. While it's estimated that less than a dozen genuine examples have been authenticated, many others were either lost in circulation or melted down over the years. As a result, finding one today is like unearthing a forgotten relic from a bygone era. Collectors prize these coins not just for their rarity but also for the mystery surrounding them. Questions about why this variant exists, how many were actually minted, and why so few remain have fueled decades of speculation. Even seasoned experts disagree on the exact figures, adding to the coin's mystique and allure in the numismatic community. Beyond the large beads variety, some 1966 1-cent coins exhibit doubling errors on the date or other anomalies like weak strikes or off-center designs. These imperfections, initially seen as flaws, have since become prized attributes for collectors seeking unique additions to their collections. Each error tells a story of the minting process and the unpredictable nature of machinery in the 1960s. Perhaps the most remarkable chapter in this coin's history came when one of these elusive 1966 Canadian pennies sold at an auction for a record-breaking price. The buyer, an anonymous collector with a passion for Canadian currency, paid a jaw-dropping $2.16 million for the rare large beads variant in pristine, uncirculated condition. This sale instantly catapulted the humble penny into the upper echelons of collectible currency. This extraordinary value isn't just about metal or age, it's about history, rarity, and the chase. Coins like these become valuable not simply because they're old, but because so few remain, and the stories they carry are irreplaceable pieces of a nation's heritage. It's the combination of scarcity, condition, and legend that drives their prices to astronomical heights. Today, these rare 1966 1-cent coins continue to spark excitement whenever one appears on the market. Collectors scour coin shows, online auctions, and estate sales hoping to stumble upon one tucked away in a forgotten drawer or an old piggy bank. The dream of discovering $1 million penny keeps the passion alive for both novice and veteran numismatists. For those lucky enough to own one, it's not just a coin, it's a tangible piece of history, a reminder of the unpredictable nature of minting, and a symbol of the incredible surprises history can leave behind in the most ordinary of places. The 1966 Canadian 1-cent large beads penny will forever remain a legendary chapter in Canada's numismatic story. In the vast world of coin collecting, there are a few coins that stand out not just for their age or design, but for the incredible stories attached to them. One such coin comes from Canada, the elusive and astonishingly rare 1991 1-cent piece. While most people would dismiss a penny as pocket change, this particular coin has made headlines and captured the imagination of collectors around the world. The 1991 Canadian cent might look like any other to the casual eye. It carries the familiar maple leaf design created by George Kruger Gray and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Dora de Pettery Hunt. But what makes this coin different isn't in how it looks, it's in how few of them actually exist in a specific variation. And that's what makes it one of Canada's most talked about numismatic mysteries. To understand the rarity of this coin, we need to look at the events at the Royal Canadian Mint in the early 90s. In 1991, the Mint had plans to update the 1-cent coin for the following year, leading to a limited production of the 1991 cents. Some records suggest that only a few coins were accidentally struck using the old dies, or were held back in mint sets, with a handful making it out into circulation by error or unusual circumstance. For years, collectors whispered about the 1991 Canadian cent, with very few examples ever surfacing. Most of the coins produced that year were intended solely for collector sets, not for everyday pocket change. Yet somehow, a tiny number slipped through the cracks and ended up in the wild, instantly making them treasures for anyone lucky enough to discover one. Finding a 1991 cent in your pocket today might seem like a long shot, but that's exactly what makes this story so fascinating. Tales of people stumbling upon valuable coins in old jars, forgotten drawers, or inherited collections keep the excitement alive. It's a reminder that extraordinary things often hide in plain sight, waiting to be recognized. The mythology around this coin grew steadily, with numismatic experts verifying a handful of authentic 1991 pieces in private collections and auction houses. Each discovery added fuel to the fire, increasing its reputation as one of Canada's most coveted small-denomination coins. As time went on, its scarcity became undeniable. What makes the 1991 Canadian cent so extraordinary isn't just its rarity, it's the incredible value it commands when it does appear for sale. In one jaw-dropping moment at an auction, a pristine example of this humble coin fetched an astonishing $2.16 million. That's right, a single copper-plated steel penny, worth 1 cent at face value, changed hands for a sum that could buy a mansion, several luxury cars, or a lifetime of travel. The staggering price tag attached to this coin reflects both its extreme scarcity and the passion of the numismatic community. Collectors will go to extraordinary lengths to complete their collections, and when a coin this rare comes up for sale, competition is fierce. It's about more than just ownership, it's about holding a piece of history that few others will ever possess. Many factors contribute to this coin's value beyond rarity. Its condition, provenance, and the story behind its survival all play a role in determining its final price. Coins found in near-mint condition, especially those with a well-documented history, are the most sought after and command premium prices, while the chances of finding a genuine 1991 Canadian cent in your change are incredibly slim. Stories like these remind us of the hidden treasures that still exist in the most unexpected places. Every coin has a history, and sometimes, that history can be worth millions.